But Hugh is 1,000% right. Jimmy's tech that he brought, even though Hugh said, do not bring your technology on this camping trip, exploded, destroying part of the forest because Hugh unplugged it while it was turned on. I think the logic of this joke is that Jimmy was trying to warn his dad not to unplug it when everything's turned on. But in Hugh's defense, he was angry at Jimmy for deliberately disobeying him. And what other electronical device explodes when you unplug it?
Jimmy's inventions aren't shit sometimes. That wasn't Hugh's fault. That was all Jimmy's fault, as Hugh said.
In the episode See Jimmy Run, Jimmy assaults people on the playground because he's running so fast no one can see him. Even going so far as to say, think of what I can do, think of what I shouldn't do, but will do. During the opening of the Empire Strikes Back Part 1, Jimmy sends Carl to test this Burt-powered jetpack with the massive oversight of not knowing and not programming a landing feature. Jimmy did not think about how his friend would return back to Earth after sending him in the sky as a guinea pig to test a jetpack. After season 1, he seems to be a bit more level-headed, but still has some anger issues and will say some pretty threatening stuff occasionally. Like in Win, Lose, Kaboom when he says to Sheen, remind me to remove what's left of your brain later. This too either subsides or I got used to it. But let's take this big-headedness and compare it to other child inventors. I don't know, let's say Phineas and Ferb. Jimmy needs everyone to know how smart he is. Meanwhile, Phineas and Ferb just let their actions speak for themselves. Phineas and Ferb's main objective is to just have fun with their friends. They never seem power hungry. With this harsh analysis, you're probably thinking I'm calling Jimmy Neutron a jerk. And I am. But don't be confused. The show itself takes on a much darker tone. This show is truly like Phineas and Ferb's evil or more edgy clone. In just a bit, I'll get into how no character is morally good. But first, let's take a look at some of these quirky references they throw in.
Greetings from planet Earth.
This show will give a lot of love to different TV shows and movies, whether it's just a quote or a full-blown parody. Here are the ones that stuck out to me, but I'm sure there's a lot more that went over my head. Firstly, in the very first episode when Pants attack, they parody Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, which Judy Neutron just spells out for all the 2000s kids that won't appreciate it until later.
It looks like a homage to Alfred Hitchcock's movie The Bird.
In the episode Brobot, when they're creating Brobot, Goddard quotes Igor from Frankenstein.
Glory, Goddard! Yes, Master.
Season 1, Episode 4B, Time is Money, they travel in a phone booth, which feels like a reference to Doctor Who. In the same episode, Carl greets someone with Tlat tu barada nikto, which is an alien phrase from the 1951 science fiction film The Day the Earth Stood Still. He also did this as he said it. This is one of the many times they flashed the Vulcan greeting from Star Trek, and fun fact, my hand hurts like hell. I feel like I'm gonna get carpal tunnel and die when I do that. In the episode Maximum Q, there's a Matrix reference with how Hugh dodges the marshmallows. There's a lot of Peanuts, Charlie Brown dancing throughout. Like, they did this in more than one episode. When they go back in time, Sheen says yabba dabba doo, referencing Flintstones naturally. The whole Jet Fusion character is a James Bond parody. And in the Operation Jet Fusion special, they also put a pineapple under the sea. And right after, there's a Pac-Man bit. They were just throwing everything at the wall. Season 2, Episode 17, Men at Work, this red lens that ends up turning on humanity is a reference to HAL 9000 from 2001, Space Odyssey. I believe the Twonkies are a Gremlins parody, and this thing that attacked Carl is the facehugger from Alien. And lastly, in the Season 3 episode The Tomorrow Boys, Carl dressed up like Luke Skywalker in The Empire Strikes Back. Wasn't that fun? Now let's talk about how every single character is morally gray. Everyone is a bitch. So usually when Jimmy is not the one completely in the wrong, he'll actually act as the moral compass, and someone else or everybody else will act like menaces. It's actually a pretty effective way to get people, or at the very least me, to empathize with the big-headed bitch. For example, in Season 2, Episode 2, Sorry Wrong Era, after Hugh has access to the remote that rewinds and fast-forwards people, he acts a lot more reckless and chaotic than usual. Not caring about the well-being of others, just enjoying the entertainment and power. Going so far as to make some woman experience giving birth again and again and again, just for shits and giggles. He even states, this is better than pie, which is high praise from Hugh. Shit, it's high praise for most people, but especially Hugh. It makes me wonder if access to this high tech is good for the people of Retroville, regardless of Jimmy. In the episode The Mighty Weezers, Jimmy gives the Weezer family pills to be healthy and not in pain all the time. Something he could have done at any time during the series, but only did when the Weezer family's health problems were inconvenient for him. Anyway, sorry, this isn't the Jimmy is an asshole section. When they were given these pills, Carl and his family were more than just healthy. They had super strength and super parkour.
Oh my god, he on X Games mode.
Now they feel invincible. What's strange is every time people are given a power advantage they didn't have before, they turn into assholes. Sheena and Jimmy were just trying to talk to